great. The fans are amazing. The stadium's full. He was famous, rich, and powerful. I mean, Green Bay doesn't have an owner. The most powerful quarterback in the league is a Packer quarterback. So he viewed, these guys don't quite get me. They're a little bit of an obstacle. And that's where we pivot now to Jordan Love. 65% of teams that score first in the NFL win. The magic sauce, the secret sauce for the Packers this year wasn't just their personnel. They became the best first quarter team in the league since week 9. In Jordan Love's first year of starting, their first quarter Jordan Love's passer rating the first quarter, 108. No first quarter picks. That's the scripted half of football. Aaron Rodgers' first quarter passer rating last year, 20 points lower, 88. 3 first quarter picks. Jordan Love was a significantly better first quarter quarterback this year than Aaron Rodgers, the Hall of Famer, was last year. The Packers had only 4 turnovers in the entire first half, the scripted half, lowest in the league. And that's a first-year starting quarterback and the youngest roster in the NFL. Last year, they were tied for 27, 13 first-half turnovers. Again, the scripted quarter, the scripted half. Mahomes does his own thing, magically, after half. But Mahomes follows a script in the first drive and maybe the second. Since week 9, Jordan Love and the Packers were plus 47. Best in the league, plus minus. Last year, entire season with Aaron, plus 1, middle of the pack. It was interesting watching the Packers. Aaron didn't leave for money. He didn't leave for power. And he didn't leave for fame. He left because at some level, he viewed Green Bay as a bit of an obstacle to his success. He was the obstacle. Green Bay became the best first quarter offense. They took the lead in Dallas. They put the pressure on San Francisco. The team that scores first wins almost 65% of the time. Aaron, as Greg Cosell has told us multiple times, audibles out, Aaron's out of successful plays. More of a jazz musician going to his own beat. Certainly earned it. But it is interesting. When you watched Green Bay, especially from about week 8 and 9 on, we were taking the lead on people in the scripted half, allowing himself to be coached, allowing himself to be guided. Jordan Love did not view Matt LaFleur as an obstacle, but as an assistant to his success. Here's Matt wrapping up his season.
He had a hell of a year. Let's not look past that. He really did. Just to see the results speak for themselves. But the growth of him is just as the commander out there. He's an extension of us. And I thought the ownership that he showed, the leadership that he showed, was a great sign for us.
Us, he said 3 times. Us, collaborative, unified. Us. Be careful blaming. You, me, us are often the obstacle of our success. J-Mac, last night, my Sixers, as I've told you, I've applied for multiple radio gigs in Philadelphia. My Sixers were led by Joel Embiid as he dropped 70. Now, it's the NBA regular season. The defense isn't ratcheted up, so you see these big numbers in the regular season. But it was very impressive.
We've never seen the NBA at this level. The league has never been this good. Did you see 17 guys are averaging more than 25 points per game this season? 17? That's obscene, Colin.
Yes, yeah. Offensively, it's the most gifted the league's ever been.
There's never been this depth of
pool. Well, it's also a much more international league, so the pool has expanded. So instead of a Tony Kukoc in Chicago, it feels like every team's got a couple of Tony Kukocs. Everybody's got a couple of bigs and a couple of international guys, and they're now taking the league over.
Karl Anthony Towns comes out after Embiid scores 62 points. It's 10 threes. Like, the league is just on fire right now, talent-wise.
Coming up next, it was a term that was used liberally and was it absolute nonsense for a decade in the NBA? Did it never truly exist? We'll talk about small ball next. The all-electric EQS sedan from Mercedes-Benz, luxury and innovation on a truly magnificent scale. It's not just the flagship of the Mercedes-Benz electric lineup, it sets a whole new... Here we go. It is a Tuesday. We're loaded as usual. It is great to be here live in Los Angeles. It's the Herd. Wherever you may be and however you may be listening, thanks for making us part of your day. J-Mac, Nick Wright in 1 hour. So many things. Now, all this stuff is percolating on the Harbaughs. Jim Harbaugh's bouncing around. Keep your eyes open for Harbaugh in Los Angeles this week.
Good.
For a second time.
Yeah, you hear the stuff about the Falcons, and there's a split over Belichick, and a big divide in the building. This NFL coaching stuff is fascinating.
So Jim Harbaugh wins the college national championship. John Harbaugh is favored to win the Super Bowl. Right? Don't we mostly think that? Baltimore played San Francisco, blew them out. Wouldn't that be unique? Brothers, one wins the college natty, one wins the Super Bowl. John Harbaugh is the last non-offensive head coach standing in the league. The last one. 3 offensive coaches and John Harbaugh. And there is a distinction. He is not a defensive coach. He's a culture creator. John Harbaugh started with running backs and tight ends coaching him. Then he went to the secondary, most years in special teams. There is a distinction. He is not Sean McDermott, Bill Belichick, Mike Tomlin, Ron Rivera, a pure 100% defensive head coach that can struggle with changes offensively. Not John. He got to Baltimore. First year, they got him Joe Flacco. By the 5th year, he won a Super Bowl, and it was a top 10 offense. That team was not about defense. That Super Bowl team was about Joe Flacco getting red hot. 11 touchdowns, no picks in the playoffs. John Harbaugh can't be pigeonholed. Tomlin, Belichick, Rivera, McDermott can. Great at what they do, but John Harbaugh and the Harbaughs are different. Then John Harbaugh, as Flacco ages and regresses, they get him Lamar Jackson. And what's different about that is he's a completely different player. From a slower-footed pocket guy with a big arm to an absolute world-class playmaker who is now developed into an excellent pocket passer. 2 different styles. John Harbaugh now favored.
He will be gone. Nothing confirmed, but it looks like it. DC Sean Desai has been let go, and interim DC Matt Patricia, his contract is going to get set to expire. Now, here's a real question, Colin. Does Sirianni get to hire these guys, or is Howie Roseman and the owner saying, here's who you will take, because they could see them taking Sirianni's
So let me ask you this. Like I've said before, we have seen Nick Sirianni with great coordinators, Super Bowl. And we have seen him without great coordinators. Disaster. What if they land Wink Martindale?
Ew.
Well, time out. I thought he was excellent with the Giants. He and Brian Daboll struggled. But if you put Wink Martindale with that defense, my take is, and they go out, I don't know who they're going to hire on the offensive side, but there are rumors out there about Wink Martindale who lives in that area anyway.
Yeah, no.
Maybe he's in the area. Wink Martindale's one of the top 5 D coordinators in the league.
He's like Harbaugh light in that he runs hard and bright for a little bit, and then he wears out people in the building.
But he makes defenses better.
No, certainly, no question. That's a good get. I think the OC is going to be a bigger question because if you have Jalen Hurts that everybody loves, and you paid a lot of money to,
and Shade Waldron's off the market.
Sounds like he's going to Chicago.
Yeah. Cliff Kingsbury, I don't know if that would work for Sirianni.
How much input
I think he'd like to stay west.
Jalen Hurts get in this decision?
I don't know the answer to that. That's a good question.
Should he get a lot of input?
I always think I wanted to know.
You paid him all the money.
Well, yeah, I'd like his point of view on it.
Yeah,
I like his opinion.
Him and Brian Johnson were close. They've known each other dating back over a decade. So, we like continuity, right? Keep the coaching staffs together, keep the quarterback.
I'm not for firing, but I thought Philadelphia was I'd never seen a team that was 10-1 become awful.
I cannot recall a time where there's been a team that went playoffs, and will have to reboot the coordinators again. Like back-to-back years. That's like Cleveland Browns, New York Jets stuff. You don't expect that for the top teams in the league. Very strange. Let's move to C.J. Stroud, who, capped the excellent rookie season with a tough loss there to the Ravens, the best team in the league. Set a bunch of rookie records this year, Stroud did. Lamar Jackson made sure to show the rookie some love after their post-game handshake, telling him, it's the beginning for you. You're going to be there. They're waiting on you.
Yeah, well, the Texans are. If you look at where they're good, it's like the 6 positions you'd have to be good. Edge, left tackle, weapon, quarterback, corner, head coach. Like Houston literally goes 6 for 6 on the 6 positions you have to be good. We acknowledge you don't have to be great at linebacker. Just happens the Niners and Ravens are. You don't have to be great at safety. The Ravens are. There are positions on this earth. Guard, you don't have to be dominating. But there are 6 positions. Head coach, quarterback, left tackle, edge, a weapon, preferably 2, and a corner, I would say, is 6. Don't have to be great at corner, but it's great to have a good one. And they are. Houston 6 for 6 there.
Yeah.
Stingley, Will Anderson.
It's weird. We went into the season thinking Jags could be the number 1 seed.
We both did.
12, 13 games. They're ascending. Who do you think set up for more success here the next 5 years?
Houston.
You don't even let me get Jackson.
No, I mean, I think they have all this. I think they've hit all the spots. Again, I'm not a huge fan of defensive coaches, but history tells you if they have great quarterbacks, they can win trophies, right? Now, a defensive coach will not elevate a C quarterback to a B, and if you go with a quarterback disruption, a backup, your season's over. But if you give a McDermott, a Belichick, a defensive coach, a great quarterback, you can host a Lombardi. We have a history of that my entire life. And I think C.J. Stroud, a lot of people, I see the cynics on the internet that are saying C.J. Stroud's success is in large part to a very clever offensive coordinator who they have. But I will say this. Whereas a Jalen Hurts is smaller in size and not a classic pocket guy, he was more beholden to a clever play caller in Shane Steichen. C.J. Stroud is big, moves well, wildly, bizarrely accurate. I don't think he's tied to a coordinator. Now, he may dip, and Matt Ryan, by the way, was not as good without Shanahan. But Jalen Hurts, you can see why he could be, like Kyler Murray, you could see why he would be elevated because of a smaller size and a running style, elevated by a coordinator. I think C.J. Stroud is so accurate, moving, pocket, left, right, rolling. I don't think he's as coordinator dependent. That's what I see.
It's weird. I'm not saying you, but just in general, football fans seem to, C.J. Stroud has got Slowick. I mean, who was Slowick before he got Stroud? Like, he was just a guy from the Shanahan tree. And, we see this with whether it's Brock Purdy, whether it's Jordan Love. We do this thing where we want to diminish folks who were not drafted high. Stroud was drafted second. He's going to get the benefit of the doubt forever. Even with Lamar Jackson, it's like, Baltimore. First half was dicey.
Well, the people doubting,
Baltimore playoff history.
The Lamar Jackson thing is very clear, and you get this more with men than women. Men do not like to admit they're wrong. It's viewed as weakness. Women view admitting they're wrong as growth. So a guy gets very defensive. A woman's like, oh, wow, that's a new way to see the world. So if women called sports talk radio stations, they would be smarter. Men are always defending their turf. So the people that don't like Lamar Jackson didn't like him initially and can't move off it. You see this constantly on Twitter, X, social. Guys get very, very defensive about being wrong. They see it as weakness. Women see it as growth. And so the Lamar critics, they know he's good. He's going to be a 2-time MVP. But guys consider it flip-flopping. That is weakness. Smartest people I all know that I've ever known are flip-floppers. They're constantly getting new data, new information.
But the thing about Lamar,
people are stubborn on Lamar. The critics are just stubborn.
Well, I think it's because he fell to 32nd. Like Stroud was second pick overall. He's always going to get the benefit of the doubt. If you go in that top 5, top 10, the math is, he was a top 10 pick. He's going to deliver. It's going to be fine.
Yeah.
But like Dak Prescott, the second things go awry, he's a game manager. Russell Wilson, hey, he's not that good. He's a third-round pick. Brock Purdy, Tom Brady. They did it with Brady for years.
Oh, no, they called him a system quarterback until the very end.
He had like 5 Super Bowl rings, and he's our game manager. Like,
well,
this is just
not
stupid.
only do people do that outside of the sport, but I would say in the sport, remember the stories that came out, the leaks at the end of Brady's New England run? The leaks from inside the Patriot building were, we think we can win with other quarterbacks here. That was a direct quote. It may have been Seth Wickersham, Jeff Benedict, somebody that wrote one of those Patriot books. There was a direct quote in the building. We can win here with more than just Tom. So even in the building, that draft selection permeates for years.
And by the way, this trickles down to backups. I can't tell you how many sports fans are like, hey, Sam Darnold needs a chance to start somewhere. Darnold, he could be a starter.
It's over.
And it's like, well, Jake Browning looked better than Sam Darnold ever has for like 6 games. Well, it was a little fluky at Cincinnati. He's got some margin. Like, just stop, guys.
Well, you and I watch. It's funny because I'm a Husky fan, so I watched Jake Browning in college, and my knock was he didn't have a power arm. Like, he didn't have to be able to throw it down the field. But I was told by 2 people. Jordan Palmer kept texting me. He's like, dude can play. Dude can start in this league. So Jordan kept telling me over and over, texting me. He goes, I'm telling you, he may not be Josh Allen, but that dude can start in this league. He can play. And he was right.
Yeah, by the way, Baker Mayfield keeps getting chances. 4th team, I mean, he's going to get paid this offseason, right? He had a good run with Tampa. Final story, the Belichick era is over in New England, and Gerard Mayo is ready to put his fingerprints on the roster. Speaking for the first time since his hiring, he was on the Greg Hill Show. Mayo said the Patriots are ready to open their checkbooks in free agency.
We're going to take the best available player for the biggest need on the team.